Hi, I'm Ernie Shimizi, and today we're reporting from Sag Harbor, and this is a big event, and I'm with Gary Sapien of WLNG.
Ernie, nice to see you and our WVVH Hamptons television viewers, and we have a great day here, a 50th anniversary at WLNG, so why don't you guys and all you viewers out there, come on in.
92.1 WLNG and the Birds of Word, Rivington's. From 1963, of course. It's 6:41 at WLNG, and we're here. We're on camera. We're being videoed here.
I just noticed that Hamptons Television is here. Hey guys, how you doing? I didn't break a lens yet, but we're working on it.
And they are here videotaping us, and they're going to sell it to YouTube. We're going to be in big old trouble.
Gary Sapien, what a great day. WLNG 50th anniversary. Congratulations to you and your staff.
Well, thank you very much, and it's been a great 50 years, and you know, you were very friendly with Paul Sidney, who kind of started the whole thing, and what WLNG does, and you know, we're real happy to keep it the way that Paul would have liked to. He'd be very happy being here today, and I like the way he made the rain stop at 4 o'clock, right in time for the party here today.
Unbelievable. It's been a rainy day all day today, but it's beautiful right now and in service to the community. That's what LNG is all about.
Absolutely, from finding somebody's lost pet to you know, giving news of a traffic jam to reporting on hurricanes and snowstorms and floods and everything else that affects us here on the East End. You know, we have the staff that knows how to do it, and that's what we've been doing for many, many years here, and hope to do it for another 50 or so.
And Gary, in your history, when did you join LNG?
Well, I visited Paul Sidney in 1964, and I think I was in the 8th grade, and he let me read the news review commercials. So that was the first time I was on radio. It was on WLNG in 1964. Then I got hired for weekends in 1970, and it was a great job because I only worked Saturday and Sunday for a few hours, and I went to the beach for the rest of the week. And then I came on board full-time in 1975, and I've been here ever since.
Some memorable moments being part of LNG in this great facility. The transmitter is here. You've lived through some major events here at WLNG.
Yeah, actually the most recent was Hurricane Sandy when I was on the air in about 8 inches of water. We were sloshing around the studio, but we're able to stay on the air for most of it. This building has flooded 3 times. There was a storm in 1978, which was a neuter-cane type storm, a snowstorm. And we had a storm like in March in 1993 that had flooded, and then Hurricane Sandy, which was the worst. So that was definitely a memorable time, but we were able to provide the information. Actually, the storm in 1993, we had to abandon the building, and we wound up in then Suffolk County Legislator Bill Jones's office for several days on Main Street in Sag Harbor. So, you know, our commitment to bring information to our listeners, and the only way we could put people on the air was to put the microphone next to his speakerphone, you know, and that's how we did it during that time.
Ingrid Lem, host of American Dream Show, WVVH. I think we're close to celebrating 10 years, aren't we?
We are a show about people, their hopes, their dreams, their family heritage, and their unbelievable realities. But not today. Today we are celebrating WLNG's 50th anniversary right here at LNG in Sag Harbor.
I know you love WLNG. I hear you often speak of it and be on it also.
And I love Paulie Sidney, as I used to call him, Paulie. And yes, we knew each other only 25 years. So LNG obviously is here 50 years.
Ingrid, your heart is in the community, and I know that's why you love your home at VVH Hamptons TV, but LNG also has been an important part of your living out here on the East End.
We are growing. We have been growing together as a community. You know what? I advertise with LNG since, I don't know, at least 20 years. And I know exactly why I'm doing it. So
joining us at this great celebration is Carl Grossman, Chief Investigative Reporter for WVVH. So
I heard that.
You know, he'll get to the bottom of it. Okay. And Fraser Doherty, who is the father of us all here. If not for Fraser,
the father of us all.
You are. If not for LTV and Fraser in particular, I put Fraser in front of all of the above. But today it's WLNG.
Yeah.
And let's start with Carl, because I'd like to get a newsman's perspective of this. LNG, isn't this something?
Yeah, well, it's very important because independent radio, rare as can be these days. I mean, Clear Channel and these other big companies own hundreds of radio stations, and here is a well, not only an independent station, but a station with a very independent sound, a very idiosyncratic sound. So I think it's great to celebrate LNG. Who's calling you?
Well, that sound we heard is a...
Hello, is this the White House?
Fraser, your turn, LNG.
Well, I have fond memories of LNG, and you know, and they were darling to LTV, and of course they're the old timers here, and did you know Roger Moulter?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Roger, sure.
Well, Roger and I were all together. We're alone together at LTV on Fireplace Road. I mean, I can see him now hovering behind me or whatever. And then of course he came here, and he took over this joint. But when storms happen, that's when LNG.
It always comes up, the hurricanes. You always go for your pocket radio, and you always go for LNG. Yeah. But what makes community broadcasting work, Carl? Because in newspapers and in television, radio.
The local stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't think the web, the internet, despite big efforts like AOL has begun this patch, sort of a chain, all these East Hampton patch and Southampton patch. I mean, it's an effort to fill that local need for news and
but they don't know anybody.
And information. Well, they're trying, but still, local radio is alive and well. Local television is alive and well. I mean,
Bob Bubka, who, for our viewers out there, this is a guy who invented, I mean, you really were one of the first to bring radio to a golf tournament and cover all sorts of sporting events. You always brought the microphone live to cover events.
Yeah, I really did. I was lucky because growing up as a youngster out here, I enjoyed the sport of golf, and then when WLNG came, I ended up going to work for them back in 1964. So I've been around a while, and you know, when you do what you love, and I can tell, you know, how much you love what you're doing, it just makes a big difference. When work is fun, you know, that's a good way to go.
You know, what you're saying really resonates with us, because if you don't love what you're doing, and if you're not really part of this, and in your broadcast, and when you cover an event, and your involvement with this great radio station, it shows. Is that one of the requirements on the resume if you come and work for WLNG?
I think it better be, because the longevity of people that have worked here is really mind-boggling. I'm blessed to be able to travel around the country and get involved with various radio stations wherever I go. And you know, if somebody's at a radio station 5 years, it's considered a long time. Here, 25 years, and you're not even in the top 10%.
Debbie Tuma. Debbie, if there's anyone who knows LNG, it's you. Reporter. You've reported for television, you've reported for radio, newspaper. You know LNG, and please share your thoughts on this special occasion.
Well, having worked for the newspapers for so long out here, and then for you guys for so long out here, I didn't really know I'd ever end up at LNG. In fact, let me tell you a funny quick story. At their 25th anniversary, I was working at the Sag Harbor Express as a reporter, and it was one of the first stories I ever did was to come over and cover their 25th anniversary. So that's when I actually met Paul Sidney back in '88 or '89, and I came over here, and at their 25th, just like today, I met Paul Sidney, and we became really good friends. And I was living right up the street in Sag Harbor. We used to go to dinner together. We used to hang out, and of course, he's such a fascinating person that you have to love Paul Sidney. Everybody loved Paul Sidney. And I said to you earlier, I think the reason the sun came out just in the nick of time and it poured all day, I think Paul is definitely at this party. I think he's looking down, and I think he got the sun out just in time because he just loves LNG so much. And I really feel like he's here today, and he's in our hearts. And as far as Paul goes, like I said, we were really good friends. I never thought of really working here, and he really didn't want me to, because he loved having his thing, and I was always at the papers, and we'd always hang out, and he loved talking about the media. It was always, what's going on with the papers? And I was always like, what's going on with the radio? So, you know, you get close to people in the media because we're all the same kind of people. So my Paul Sidney story is this, and I'll make it quick. Paul used to come over for dinner, and I used to cook for him because he was a bachelor, and he used to love eating out or coming to my house for dinner. So I was living right in the village, and he was living right in the village, and one day it was a really wintry day in the middle of January, really bad weather, and I had him over for dinner, and we had this big snowstorm that night, and it snowed like, I swear, like 10 inches, and it was like so bad. When it was time for me to drive him home, I said, Paul, I'm too scared. I cannot drive in this weather. I can't see. I'm scared of slipping. You're going to have to stay overnight. So he goes like this, all right, but you can't tell anybody I'm here. You can't tell anybody I'm here, because Paul was very private about his personal life, and he didn't want anybody to know any of his business. I said, no, I won't tell anybody you're here. You can sleep on the couch, and like in the morning, you know, just leave, go to work, but don't tell anybody I'm here. Don't tell anybody I'm here. I'm like, no problem. So he made a big deal about it, and in the morning, at 6 o'clock in the morning, the WLNG bus pulled up in front of my house, 50-foot bus with WLNG all over it, all the people on the bus, in the radio painted on the side, and I'm laughing my head off. I'm like, Paul, I think they might know you're here, you know. And so the driver is like, Paul, come on, get on the bus, we're going to work. And everybody's looking out the window, and like Paul Sidney getting out of my house and going on the air. And it was the funniest thing I ever. I was like, well, you're really a discreet guy.
David Klein, one of the important guys who works here at LNG. I mentioned that you're a young arrival here, and you said yes, sir, only 18 years.
Yes, I've been here 18 years, and actually WLNG and I have something in common. We both turned 50 years this year.
Well, so. Congratulations. You're involved with promotion, and everyone knows radio promotion is an important part of what it's about and the marketing. Tell us a little bit about LNG and what it means.
Well, WLNG with Paul Sidney, have to bring Paul Sidney into the picture, because Paul always was community-minded. So therefore, I wanted to keep that same concept and that same life going on after Paul had passed away in 2009. So we're community-minded. We do a lot of promotional stuff throughout the year. We still do about 250 remotes a year, and we get out to like the powwows, the festivals, and the carnivals and stuff like that. And we also have now got more promotional items where we do T-shirts and hats and stuff like that, which we'll be doing, and we've been passing those out also. And as for the marketing part, we're getting more involved with the local papers and stuff, and just trying to develop partnerships that will make us part of their team as well as our team in order to get the exposure going.
Cuffy, you're usually the one asking the questions, but...
yeah, this is a switch. I'm on the other side of the mic this time.
LNG, what's it like being part of this great radio station?
It's really enjoyable. I mean, I love coming to work, and I guess it's a person that always said, if you love what you do, it's not a job, and it's not a job. I mean, I get to drive the bus, I get to hold the remote mic like you're holding, I get to go out and interview all kinds of people in all different kinds of venues, and I have a lot of fun at most of them. And it's amazing the community service that WLNG does for the community. I mean, they're out there promoting blood drives, carnivals, sports events, you know, basketball and football, and we do it all, and it's all done through sponsorship, mostly from everybody in the community. So it's like, say, the Lions Club had a carnival, and everybody came down. Well, the Lions Club gives back to the community. We constantly try and give back to the community, and people are trying to give back to us. You know, I have a ball. I really do.
Do you remember your first day working here at LNG?
Yes, I do. I had Rusty corralled me one day, and he says, I have a job for you. And I said, really, what? And he says, we have this wind dancer that we need you to hook up. You know, it's got two fans on the bottom, and it floats around like crazy. Yeah. You're all right. And he said, I want you to do it. I said, okay, fine. So I went and did that. And then we were out at Buzz Chew. And I was talking to, because they had the car show, okay, and I was talking to a gentleman about his car, and we were swapping stories. And Rusty said, here, grab the mic and go out and interview him. And that was the first time he interviewed anybody.
You know, the energy of what makes WLNG is people like this, Chris Buckout, who you're on the air, you're carrying forward your career in radio. You guys are unbelievable what you're doing.
Well, it's a legacy that's been kind of handed down. I'm fortunate enough to be a part of it. Obviously it's guys like Paul and Rusty and Gary that did so much laying the framework and getting us, making sure that LNG is such an integral part of the community. I feel like we are a partner with the community, and just all day today we've been feeling calls from people that couldn't make it here but just wanted to wish us happy anniversary, say how important we are to them, and how glad that we are to still be on the air.
What a great party. I mean, you've got people who are from political leaders to regular everyday fans like myself who are here who come to celebrate what LNG means.
Right, and there's a lot of fans that don't even admit they're fans. There's a lot of people that won't admit it, but they always seem to know exactly everything that happened on LNG.
Everyone knows what's happening on LNG, and if you don't know LNG, if there's something happening in this community, if you're stuck in traffic, if something is occurring, this place turns on a dime and covers it immediately, and that's what I love about you guys.
Well, that's what we have to do. That's kind of what gives us, I believe, our value to the community, is that we do that. People can call up. Sunday morning I had somebody calling up and asking if I had any advice, or if any listeners had any advice on how to get his cat out of the tree. He had hired a tree guy to come there, but it kept chasing the cat higher and higher. And he just said, can you just put this out there? Maybe somebody can give me a call who has an idea.
Talk about a lost cat call.
Yeah, well, talk about who else are you going to call except LNG, to be honest? I'm not trying to toot our own horn, but honestly, there are not a lot of other outlets that you can do that.
Without a doubt. A lovely lady from WLNG, Lisa Dabrowski. And Lisa, we know you from work you did on VVH,
yes.
But now you're part of LNG.
Yes, I've been part of WLNG now for over 5 years, and it's been a great time, great experience, and I'm so happy to be part of the 50th anniversary birthday of the station. It's just a wonderful time, and lots of history here.
Lots of history here, and being a woman in radio, do you get those phone calls from those secret admirers out there that fall in love with your voice?
Oh, well, there are a few that call, but regulars, and but they're loyal listeners, and what would we be without them, right?
LNG, the spirit of, as a young person who's part of this institution of what LNG is, what does it mean to you?
Oh, well, I grew up listening to the station, and definitely I have a love of music and appreciation of music and all the classic songs that are on. I grew up listening to them. There's really some great songs that came out from the time that WLNG went on the air in 1963. Till now, you really get a wide variety of music from the station. And where else can you hear all these different songs in one place, all these different genres of music? And it's really great. It's a great, if you're looking to learn about music, WLNG certainly has a lot to offer with what they present to the public, and not just in music, but of community service. The Pet Patrol, the Community Bulletin Board. There's really a lot of service that WLNG provides for the community, for the whole East End, and it's certainly a legendary institution here.
One of the great voices of WLNG, you can see I'm trying to get my voice up there, is Dan
Your voice is great.
Oh, Dan, your voice, whenever I tune into LNG and I hear you, I know I'm going to get the news, the weather.
And then you turn the switch off, okay.
No, I never do,
oh, okay.
Never do. You guys said today was going to be a beautiful day, and you weren't wrong.
Well, half wrong. Started off a little rainy, but it's pretty nice right now. So.
A little bit about your history and your involvement when you started here at LNG.
I've been here since January of 1990 and been in the business, if you count high school and college radio stations, since 1970. So I'm kind of one of the new people here. So.
One of the new people here.
Yeah.
Every day from 1990 to this great 50th celebration, what is the drive of WLNG? What is your mission statement every day, as they say, to make this place go?
Well, I think the main thing is that people can get music wherever they want to get music. There's, they have their iPods and everything else, but they can't get the information all in one place like we have it. they can find sports scores elsewhere, but we'll have sports scores, and we'll have their birthdays, and we'll have the lost pets on the air, and we'll have the high tide times, and they can find everything in one place. And I think because of the consistency of people being here for as many years as they've been here, Rusty since 1975 and Gary since 1968, I guess, when he was a kid, and all the people that have been here so many years.
Radio is alive and well on WLNG, celebrating 50 years, and this is one of the stars of LNG, Mr. Rusty Potts.
Oh, I don't know about that, but thank you very much. It's very
absolutely,
nice of you.
absolutely. Our viewers should know LNG is a success on so many different levels. Probably the most important level is the people and the community love you, they're behind you. And that must be very gratifying for you, isn't it, Rusty?
It is. We have a very, very close relationship with our audience. We really love our audience. We care about them, and we make sure that they know that we do, because if it were not for the audience, we wouldn't be around. No question about that.
Other radio stations had it for a while. ABC in New York, 1010 Wins in the days of Murray the K.
Right.
Personality driven.
Yeah.
People would run home from school, myself included. But that's what LNG also had. Since 1963, people would run home from school to listen to LNG. And not only that, in the mornings, to find out if school was open or not,
sure,
you tune into LNG.
Sure. Well, they still do, as a matter of fact, tune in to find out if school is open in the morning, hoping that it's not. But they still do tune in for us, in the morning. WLNG, it's our job to give the information to the community. We like to consider ourselves the source of local information on the radio for people. They've got to get it somewhere, and it's our job, and we feel proud of being able to do that for our listeners.
Ryan the Cannon Bannon, this is where the magic happens.
This is where the magic happens. We're back here in the production room. This is the original studio of WLNG at 1600 AM. Paul Sidney, Joe Ricker, and this was the main studio right here. Right behind where the cameraman is, where our server rack is now, that's where the former AM transmitter was at one point. And you've been hanging out in the backyard, the old AM tower in the back, which is still being used at our facilities here to get up to our studios up in, or our facility up in Millstone Road. So, hey, can you believe LNG 50 years?
50 years, but a shot of where the transmitter was here. I remember hearing the famous story. In fact, I heard it live on the air. It was a hurricane. Water was coming up because we're right on the water, and it was actually coming up to where the transmitter was. I think you guys might have raised it since last.
We have. And you know what the funny thing is, since we just had Hurricane Sandy, we realized that the water never got any higher than that cement block over there. So as soon as the water came in the backyard, into the front door, Gary and I were here in the studio with a whole bunch of water, but it never got past that point. So someone thought of the idea that that's as high as it's going to be.
And they didn't make it any higher.
No higher. Hey, you know what? One other thing, too, is that since you guys are back here, these are all Paul Sidney's radios. These are all, with Paul, after he passed away, these are all his radios that Paul had in for so many years. He loved his Grundigs. As you see, there's a lot of Grundig radios. Very sensitive radios, and it's nice that we get to house them back here and show them off to everybody.
This is the famous collection. I heard about it.
This is the famous, yes.
Celebrating WLNG, these three lovely ladies. Your names?
Robin Helgerson, Nancy Jocelyn,
Roseanne Bucking.
Okay, now Nancy, tell us about our guests here.
Okay, well, I'm Bob Bupka's sister, the famous Bob Bupka that's on WLNG for the past 50 years. He came and started at 20 years old. And we were very, very good friends with Paul Sidney, who I know is here in spirit. And this is his lovely daughter, Robin. Robin?
Not Paul Sidney.
What would you like to say?
I have a question for Robin. Do you golf? Because everyone who knows Bob knows that sports is big with...
Absolutely, and I was the firstborn with Bob, so I played all sports, including golf, so...
Excellent. Now, you own a shop here in Sag Harbor.
Yes, the 5 and 10 on Main Street.
The famous 5 and 10.
Famous 5 and 10. Thank you.
And how many years?
We've been there since 1970, so as I said to Gary Sapien when I walked in before, we're catching up to the 50. We'll be there soon.
Ryan Horn, Sag Harbor resident?
Oh, yeah, a 5-generation native and at least 5, I think, and a lifelong resident, so
So you grew up listening to WLNG.
Oh, yeah, and Dad did too. He was 10 years old when my grandpa was here today. Turned it on for the first time. I was born and raised right around the corner from here, so right from the back deck. During the day, you could see the tower, and at night, you could see the red glow of the lights from the causeway here, and it's always been a reassuring thing. And when I went away to college, this was to Cornell in 1998, the fall of '98, that was the first time when LNG was doing its initial forays onto web-based broadcasting. So there it was streaming, and I could hear it from all the way up in Ithaca, and it was a good comfort then too.
You know, that's an important point, because now the world can listen to WLNG.
Oh, sure. It's really great, and I know that WLNG has always had a reference, to being a reverence for being live and local, and it's been a core part of their community-oriented philosophy. But now that it's all over the net and all over the region and all over the state, it's not just Mastic to Montauk and Watch Hill. Now it's all over, and there's people even stopping Dave Lee in Arizona, telling him to take a walk.
Bob Scott, Robert's Jewelers, here at this great event. It's so nice to connect with people who know what LNG means to this community.
It means a lot. I'm going to interrupt you right here.
Please.
This happens to be one of the, as was told by a surveyor of all stations across the nation, one of the quirkiest radio stations in the nation. He said they have a fierce following, and they envy it, and the larger stations envy it. I've been with them since 1987. Back when Paul Sidney coerced me to come onto a station, and I listened to him, and I came on, and he made some suggestions. As wacky as he is, he was as brilliant as it was, and he helped us out quite a bit. And he's kind of like part of the making. And then Gary Sapien, he's just beyond belief. He makes anybody look good on the radio. So I've been with him since then, and I'll be with him until I retire, which won't be soon.
To survive 50 years, WLNG has had to be able to offer something to the community, and you're in a good example of what LNG offers to businesses.
Oh, just fantastic. The response that we get from our
This is Mike and Mary.
Yes.
And what's your business?
We have Elmer's Amish Furniture in Southold. And I can't say enough about the response that we get from the advertising here at LNG. I mean, almost everybody who comes in says that they heard us on LNG. It's just incredible. It's really money well spent on advertising. It's nice to be able to track your advertising and see, whether it's effective or not. And it's the most effective advertising that we have taken on.
And owning a business these days is not easy, so every dollar counts.
Yes, absolutely.
And what is your shop, and what do you guys offer?
We offer custom Amish furniture. Everything's made in the United States. It's built by Amish craftsmen in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and Millersburg, Ohio.
Bob Grisnick, and I'm told you're an important part of what makes LNG LNG.
Well, I don't know if I'm an important part of LNG, but I'm a partner with LNG with the Southampton Lions Club. Over the last 11 years, we've partnered together to raise funds for the Southampton Lions Charitable Trust, and we've done that by holding oldies spectacular shows. We started in 2003, and this year was our 11th year of doing that. We are at Southampton High School Auditorium. We had another fantastic show this past Saturday night. We had the Duprees, we had Jay Siegel and the Tokens, Kenny Vance and the Planetones, and we also had an a cappella group called Classic Sounds. We sold out the place, 1,000 seats, and it was just a fantastic event. I built it around the 50th anniversary of WLNG, and it was great. All of the acts got right into it. They thanked LNG for keeping the music alive.
That partnership of what LNG represents with the Lions Club and yourself, you guys have keeping it going in service to the community and continued success.
Well, that's what it's all about. WLNG has been with us for 50 years. They're the station that cares on Eastern Long Island, and they care about the community.
That's what LNG is all about. It's more than just a string of records, that's for sure, but a record of service. The Golden, 92.1. So great to be here. Thank you very, very much.
thing. That was the last time I had lips about 10 minutes.
Who trusts you with the knife?
Who's
cutting? Who's cutting?
All right, who's cutting the cake?
Come on, Mike, get in here.
All right, where's the knife here? Okay, Rusty, you ready?
Rusty, get the cake.
All right, here we go. I'm going to go between the L and the N, okay? No. Where should I go?
Yeah, right there.
Right there. There we go. Okay, cuts the cake. The cake is there's a piece for it. Okay, that's it. So.